Hi, I wanted to analyze this picture of Super Mario World, this piece of promotional art, because I find that, as with a lot of images where there's a kind of symmetry, or at least there's obviously a kind of geometry going on here, where things are placed in a nice sort of orderly way along a certain axis. It's almost as if the artists who make these images unconsciously can't avoid a certain archetypal disposition of the images. Kind of like dreaming but while awake. It's almost as if the artist is using the same mechanisms, the same unconscious mechanisms one uses while dreaming, but unconsciously while awake. Anyway, I just say this to kind of emphasize what I try to emphasize in all the videos, that this isn't a conspiracy video. It's almost the opposite. It's like art analysis taken to a ridiculous extreme. So this image is really interesting and it's really rich in stuff going on, because the first thing we could notice is so there's Yoshi and Mario in the center of this sort of globe, this planet, and then there's like a symmetry. There's these dolphins flying out of Yoshi and Kamek's ray shooting out of Yoshi's feet. They are almost symmetrical, and therefore, in a dream logic kind of way, they seem to represent two sides of one same thing. So it's almost as if, so we have Kamek's ray could be interpreted in different ways. Libido in a psychoanalytical way, or energy in some other way, would parallel the dolphin jumping out of Yoshi's eyes. Now, let's also notice that the dolphins are wearing glasses, the kind of, diving glasses for diving in the water. Obviously, this is comical and it's typical of Nintendo video games, where these characters don't really need these glasses because they are water creatures anyway. So, in a dream sort of way, the fact that they're wearing these glasses is unnecessary, but emphasizes something. It emphasizes the need for your eyes to be clear while diving in the water. The water in dream symbolism usually being the unconscious. And on the other side of the equation, we have Kamek also wearing glasses. But in this case, almost like the opposite. They seem the kind of glasses that one would wear if one is short-sighted. But since Kamek is a witch or a magician of some sort, it also emphasizes the way magicians or sages in mythology, like in Greece, a blind person was interpreted as being someone who could see deeper into the mind's eye. So, right off the bat, we have a similar kind of thing going on, where the eyes are emphasized, and again, according to my personal interpretation, it seems like it could have something to do with vision of the mind's eye, vision into the unconscious. So, where are these dolphins coming out of? Sort of symmetric. Obviously, they're coming out of the sea, but as far as the image is concerned and the image disposition on this axis, they're coming out of Yoshi's eyes. So again, eyes being emphasized, they're coming out of Yoshi's eyes. Now, simultaneously, Lakitu is pulling a green mushroom out of Yoshi's eyes as well. in between his eyes. So again, as in a lot of these images, the way this sort of dream symbolism seems to work is that it's the way synchronicity works, that two things are happening at the same time, therefore, according to this sort of theory, they would represent a similar kind of thing. Anything that is coordinated or linked up in some way would have a deeper archetypal connection also. So the first thing that would come to mind, taking into account world mythology and, for example, all the work of people like Carl Jung or Joseph Campbell in The Hero with the Thousand Faces and everything, so many of these mythologies, when there is something to do with the eyes or an awakening coming out of the eyes, a common image is that of the third eye, right? The third eye opening up, literally representing the mind's eye. So what things could echo that in here? Well, first of all is that the opening of the mind's eye has a lot to do, again, with serpent power or kundalini in so many mythologies, that the serpent rising up the spine and opening up in the crown chakra or the third eye chakra. So of course, off the bat, Yoshi is a dragon, so Yoshi is already an embodiment of the serpent, of the dragon. And here, once again, we return to Mario, because Mario is riding the dragon. Therefore, riding, in this analogy, the Kundalini energy. So, we have that going on. Kundalini energy would go up the spine and up to the eye or the crown. So, here, interestingly enough, Yoshi is crowned by his own baby self. And this baby self, this baby Yoshi, is crowned by the egg shell. Now, this is interesting because then on top of Mario's hat, his crown, is again mushrooms. Also red and white like his cap. So in other videos I've also mentioned how there's other Mario promotional art. I can't access it at the moment, but for example, I think Super Mario Land 2, there's also this parallel between Mario's cap and the mushroom being placed right above his cap. So almost as if it's implying unconsciously that the red and white cap of Mario is the Amanita muscaria. That is his cap, or that he himself represents a human form of the mushroom. And of course it's interesting because then we can combine the whole thing of Kundalini energy with the shamanic use of mushrooms in so many world mythologies. So of course, Lakitu is a turtle, also, in a way, some form of a dragon. Of course, the whole of Super Mario World involves an island of dragons, so that's no surprise in that sense. But it's dragging a mushroom out of the pineal gland. And this is a one-up mushroom, a green mushroom, which gives you an extra life. What is happening here? A new life is being given to Yoshi, above its head. A new birth, a rebirth. And then above the little Yoshi's head, another cap. Sort of implying a fractal, where we could imagine that this cap would also have a younger self in it, and so on and so on and so on. Almost in the way that so many pyramids are left uncapped, and the author, the researcher of Hermetic and Occult Studies, Manly P. Hall, interprets this as being that the pyramids are left with the cap empty, as if to symbolize that no material construction is ever complete. There is always a fractaling, where if you were to put the cap on top of the pyramid, that smaller cap would also be missing its tiny cap, and so on to infinity. So, well, I'm going to leave it at that for the time being, but there's definitely a lot more to come back to in this image. Thank you.